Okay, I've had a number of people ask me to do a rundown on how we shoot stuff for this channel, Second Thought, and First Thought. Ask and you shall receive. This is our studio for all our creative work. I say studio in quotes there because, as you can see, it's only half painted, it's not sound treated, not anything particularly professional, but I did want to take a minute to walk you through the three main sets we have here, talk a little bit about my desk setup, stuff like that. Starting with this, the OG Second Thought set. This is the one that we've used the longest. It's gone through several iterations and I'm mostly happy with it. My main gripe with this one at the moment is the cable management, but literally no one has ever mentioned it, so it's not super high on my list of things to fix. Starting with the desk, we have an IKEA tabletop. I forget the name, I got it years ago. It's on a set of generic adjustable legs. I originally used this as my work desk as well as a video backdrop, and I got the adjustable legs so I wouldn't have to be sitting all the time. They don't work anymore, so now this is once again a regular sitting desk. We've got an LG 4K monitor that's actually pretty decent, minus the one stuck pixel that is slowly driving me insane, and the fact that the USB-C port stopped working almost immediately. That's super annoying because now in order to put a background on the screen, I have to run a chunky HDMI cable to my laptop, which sits under the desk while I'm recording, as well as the power cable for the laptop, whereas before I could just use a single USB-C. Not the end of the world, just one of those annoying little things. Also on the desk are a pair of Audio Engine A2 speakers. I mostly got them because they look nice and help make the setup feel more complete, but they're also really capable little speakers. Again, since I don't use this as my workstation anymore, they're pretty much just decoration now. The lamps are from World Market and Target, I think. Both of them have Philips Hue bulbs. The little lamp has one of those vintage-looking Edison bulbs, and the floor lamp is just your standard RGB. There's also a Hue light strip on the back of the desk, and I've got them all bound to a scene in the app so I can turn them all on with one tap when it's time to record. On the wall, we've got this hexagon thing from World Market and a shelf from IKEA. The fake plants are also from IKEA. The Lenin bust is an antique from eBay. Got a few books for a bit of color and weight, and one of my several film cameras. This one has the lovely Nikon 105 2.5 permanently stuck to it, so that's great. Really would love to take it off somehow, but I don't want to risk breaking it, so if any of you know how to get it off, let me know. Anyway, that's pretty much it for the OG set. When it comes time to record, we'll swing this desk around and position the camera, mic, and lights like so, and we're off to the races. Next up is the First Thought set, which uses a pretty cool trick if I do say so myself. But before we get to that, I'd like to thank my wonderful channel sponsor, Audio. One of the most common questions I get asked is, where do I find music to use in my videos? There are a number of options out there, but the one I've been using for a while now, and the one that I feel is the best bang for your buck, is Audio. There are a couple things that set them apart. For one, the price. Nothing comes close to Audio in that regard. Their lifetime membership is the same cost as some services' annual plan. But beyond that, they have an amazing library of tracks, with more being added all the time. And critically, they also have a massive catalog of sound effects, which makes such a huge difference in how a video feels. Good music and sound effects are a cheat code for making the viewer feel a certain way. They're the key to pacing, feel, and emotional impact. If you're not sold already, Audio has an amazing new feature called Link Match AI. This is something I've been waiting for my entire career. I can't begin to tell you the number of times I've heard a song and been like, that's the one, that's the track I want to use. But it's copyrighted. With Link Match, you copy the link to the song, plug it in, and it analyzes the entire audio library and gives you the closest matches. This is such a time saver, it's insane. I've got creator friends who switched to Audio for this feature alone. There are plenty of other options out there, but personally, I cannot recommend Audio highly enough. As a little thank you to fans of my work, Audio is currently offering 70% off your first year of the Pro plan when you use the code Chapman70 at checkout. Give it a try. I promise you'll love it as much as I do. Okay, back to the video. Over here on this wall, we've got the First Thought set. If you've seen any of those episodes, you may have thought I was sitting in front of a window in a downtown LA office. But actually, through the magic of cinema, or these 3 TVs mounted vertically, I can be anywhere I want. I've got 3 cheap 55-inch TVs on rolly stands, all fed into display ports on this desktop, which used to be my gaming rig, but now that I have exactly 0 time for gaming, it's been demoted to running the First Thought screens. Kind of depressing. And getting all this to work was actually really annoying. I wanted to just use my laptop, but I couldn't because Apple doesn't play nice with multiple screens in this orientation. Then I had to match the TV's color and brightness because they were all a little different. Then I had to find a video that looked believable enough to use as a view through a window, which was surprisingly difficult. To sell the effect, we put up some curtains on C-stands and put a couch in front of the TVs to hide the stands. A couple plants and the lamp we saw earlier complete the look. Roll the desk over here, set up a couple fake succulents for the vibes, and here's the finished setup. Still needs a bit of tweaking, but it's passable for the moment. That's one of the most important things I've learned over the last decade. Your work doesn't have to be perfect, just intentional. Like, if you look closely, you'll see there are pretty sizable gaps between the TVs, but in the final video, you don't really notice. People see the setup and their brain just assumes it's a normal window. Then finally, over here, we've got some IKEA shelving, which doubles as our third supplemental set. We won't typically do full videos here, but it's nice for a change of pace in a longer video. I've arranged some more interesting items on the middle shelves because that's what's usually in the shot. We've got some lenses, old camcorder, a drone, Mamiya TLR, some cameras I've acquired over the years. Down here is a cool vintage cinema lens. Then on the bottom, just a bunch of stuff we don't typically use all that often. Sliders, extra tripods, acoustic blanket, bigger teleprompter. Of course, my 1,000,000 subscriber plaque here in its place of honor, just kind of leaned up against the shelves. This setup is pretty good for casual videos or cutaways, but yeah, this is the one that we use the least. Okay, let's talk real briefly about gear, and then I can show you my workstation, if you want to call it that. We shoot pretty much all our videos on this, a first generation Blackmagic Pocket 6K. This is not the full frame, it's not the Pro, it's not even the G2. This is the OG Pocket 6K that came out in 2019. I love this thing. The image you can get from it is leagues beyond its price point. It was about $2,500 when it came out, and these days you can pick up its successor, the G2, for like $1,500. You can't really find this one new anymore, which isn't all that surprising. It is getting a little long in the tooth. It shoots 6K B-RAW, which is Blackmagic's internal RAW format, and it's gorgeous. Works great with DaVinci Resolve, which comes free with every Blackmagic camera, and you can record directly to SSDs, which is a huge plus. For the lens, we usually stick to the Sigma 18-35 f1.8 for the Canon EF mount. Then we've got a FeelWorld 7-inch monitor on the top because the 6K does not have a tilt and swivel screen, which was annoying even back in 2019. This thing on the front of the lens is a Parrot teleprompter, which might be the single most useful piece of gear I have. I couldn't make my videos without having a script in front of me. It just wouldn't happen. I don't have that kind of memory. The tripod is just a fairly inexpensive Manfrotto that I got for free back when I worked at Best Buy. They flew all of us camera experts out to Colorado Springs for some training and cringe team building stuff. But I got a tripod, a bag, and some decent photos out of it, so that was cool at least. For audio, we usually use a Rode NTG3 shotgun mic. It's fantastic. Excellent audio quality, pretty rugged. It's mounted on this very rundown boom stand, which honestly, I have no idea where this came from. I think I may have accidentally liberated it from my school's film department or something, I don't know. Regardless, it's trash, but it hasn't completely fallen apart yet, so it's stuck around. We run the mic into a Zoom H5 via XLR, and pro tip here, these things chew through AA's like you wouldn't believe. If you're gonna get one of these, do yourself a favor and get the aftermarket AC adapter if you're gonna have access to outlets. No more worrying about dead batteries. Then for my podcast audio, I use this very pretty Rode Broadcaster, which I also got when I worked at Best Buy. Not free, unfortunately, but we got what were called accommodations on some brands, and Rode was one of them, so I got this thing for like half price. Great microphone, sounds amazing. I've got it mounted on a Rode arm, this pop filter is 100% necessary, I would never use this mic without it, and I run it into a Focusrite Scarlett Solo, which is this little audio interface that plugs into my laptop via USB-C. For lights, we've experimented with different setups over the last few years, but I found that I prefer a simple 2-point setup with more even lighting. For the key, we're using a Godox VL150, which has since been discontinued, with a small rig lantern for diffusion. This gives a nice, soft, fairly omnidirectional throw, which is great for getting that more even distribution of light. For the fill, we're using an Amaran P60C. It's an RGB light that's pretty harsh even with the diffusion, but it's a nice quality light. We used to set it to a soft purple to give some color contrast, but looking back, I actually really don't like that look anymore. So recently, we've just been setting it to daylight for a cleaner, more traditional look. And honestly, that's pretty much it. 3 kinda janky sets, 2 lights, shotgun mic, and a 5-year-old camera. You don't really need all that much to make a really professional looking end product. Okay, last thing to show you is the workstation, which isn't really a workstation at all. I originally intended this room to be like an editing suite, but it didn't work for me. I found I didn't like to sit at a desk all day and look at a giant monitor. It just felt too rigid for me. So these days I've minimized my setup as much as possible. I use my M2 MacBook Pro for all my work. Emails, script writing, color grading, video editing, podcast recording and editing, keeping up with my daily tasks. Literally everything lives on this laptop. Notion is my productivity app of choice. I'm not really big on the whole productivity obsession, but Notion really is useful for things like production schedules and to-do lists and stuff. Then if you look at my desktop, I've got just 2 folders, one for home stuff and one for work stuff. And from there, each one branches off into all my projects and documents and things like that. I wouldn't say I'm a terribly organized person, but if I didn't have this set structure to my work files, I would probably lose my mind. As for where I work, it's pretty much wherever the table is left from the last shoot. If it was a second thought shoot, I'm facing this way. If it was a first thought shoot, I'm facing this way. If I'm writing or editing the deprogram, I'll typically lie on the couch. No use having a laptop if you're gonna chain yourself to a desk all day. Honestly, it's kinda crazy that my job can pretty much all be done with this one magic rectangle. It's kinda wild. I press buttons on this thing and money appears in my account. What a world. And that is everything. All the things I use to run this channel, second thought, first thought, and the deprogram. You don't need $1 million setup to make really cool content, and you certainly don't need to buy all your gear at the same time. I started with a camera, the cheapest lighting kit I could find, and a whiteboard to make little stick figure videos. It's been a long process to accumulate the stuff that works for our operation. Hopefully, some of it'll work for yours. This is all very likely to change as our priorities change, and I'll keep you in the loop if we do anything exciting. But yeah, go make something cool. I'm gonna go do some cable management. No, I'm not. Who am I kidding? I'm just gonna go somewhere else. Actually gonna bring this with me.